So, today we're going to talk about a word, counterintuitive. Have you guys heard of that word?
Yeah.
Counterintuitive. Can everyone say counterintuitive with me?
Counterintuitive.
Counterintuitive. Can anyone define counterintuitive? No. Yeah.
Counterintuitive is like when something is so like unnecessarily hard.
Some unnecessarily hard.
So like an example of counterintuitive would be if you had to, if I'm not saying this is real at all, but if you would have to turn the wheel right in a car to turn left.
Yes, that would
That's
be counterintuitive. That's a
counterintuitive.
good example. Yeah. Can anyone give us a definition? Luke, were you about to give us some Latin there? No? I thought I saw that coming. Okay, counterintuitive. Peter?
Like you think something does something, but like is the opposite.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on that? Ways to find it? Yeah, Alex.
When it seems like something's gonna, like, it makes sense for something to go this way, but then you're doing something else that doesn't seem like it would affect the other attack.
Yes, exactly. So counter means against, right? Like if you're counter something, you're against it. Counterintuitive, intuitive is what you would naturally think, right? So one definition is contrary to intuition or common sense expectation, but nevertheless true. So what you would think would be one thing, like you're doing this circle exercise, you would think it's going to be easy, I'll just bring my finger to the ground and it will go, but then you find your finger going up and the hoop going all over the place and all these things, right? It's not what you would naturally first think. So can you guys think of things in life that are counterintuitive? What are examples of things, just like anything, that might be counterintuitive?
Jumbo shrimp.
Jumbo
Okay,
shrimp.
That's an oxymoron.
I'm being funny.
No.
I knew they were going to jump on me technically.
Yes. Yes.
Balancing that cookie on your head and trying to get into your mouth.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good example, right?
When you do this
contrary
and
to
you try to
common
get
sense
the
expectation.
Oreo from your forehead
Can I
into
give you
your
guys
mouth.
one example to kind of get your minds working? You guys know those Chinese finger traps?
Oh yeah, where you're gonna push
Yes,
in. Where you're
okay.
gonna push in.
And you're
For some people, using chopsticks.
for some people using chopsticks, yeah. So with this little Chinese finger trap, you put your finger in and you try to get your fingers out, and if you pull your fingers out, then
It
the
gets
thing gets
closer.
tighter, right? So you have to put your fingers in so that you can get your fingers free. Right, so that's counterintuitive. What, can you guys think of anything else like that in life?
Getting stuck in a small hole
Getting stuck in a small hole. How so?
when you're halfway through.
When you're halfway through?
Yeah.
What?
You make no sense.
So like you're digging a hole?
Yeah.
Like you're digging a hole?
You're halfway into a small hole and then you want to get out and you can't.
Oh, like you're crawling through it.
Yeah.
Yes, like you're caving or something. Okay, yeah. That's good. That's good. Can you guys think of any statements that are counterintuitive? Any like things that people say that you're like, oh, that's not what I would naturally think. Yeah.
If you wear your socks out inside out, everybody in the world except for you is wearing them.
What?
There could be someone else wearing
This is
socks
counterintuitive.
right
That is counterintuitive. Yeah, Alex.
Like the statement slow and steady wins the race.
That's good. Yeah. So how is that counterintuitive?
Because if you're going slow, you're probably not. I mean, your goal is to go fast so you can finish the race first.
Yes.
But if you're going slow and steady, so then
Not
you
the
can
participate
race
over.
That's good. That's good. Exactly. You would think go fast and quick as you can to win race, but somehow slow and steady wins. That's really good. Any other things like that you guys can think of that are like, oh, that's not bad. Yeah, Kat.
I guess,
Listen up, guys.
I guess the fact that this was from Ligonier reminded me of this, that everyone's a winner.
Everyone's a winner. Yes. Yes. So, Kat, how is that counterintuitive?
Because by definition, really, there is only one winner.
By definition, yes. Everybody cannot necessarily be the winner. Yeah.
There's a song, and it's called Touch the Sky when, or like, Yes, Sky.
Mhm.
And I touch the sky when I
Yes, that's good. She said there's a worship song, Touch the Sky. It says, I touch the sky when my knees hit the ground. And you're like, that doesn't make sense, but it's nevertheless true. That's good. Peter.
If everyone's super, then no one will be.
If everyone's super, then no one will be.
Because
Yeah, I know that.
if everybody's
I know
super,
that.
then it would be because being super would be normal.
Okay, one more example. Did I see another hand? Yeah.
The last shall be first.
The last shall be first.
That kind of reminds
That's
me.
counterintuitive,
That
yeah.
reminds me of a quote from Talladega Nights. If you ain't first, you're last.
Yes, I haven't seen
If you're not
that.
first, then you're
But-
second. That's just intuitive, not
That is intuitive. So yeah, Kate touched on one of the ones that I was thinking of. Jesus, right? Jesus said, love those who persecute you. That's counterintuitive, right? If someone's persecuting us, if someone's being mean to us, our first instinct isn't to love them, right? It might be to do any other number of things, but love is not necessarily intuitive. But this is what Jesus tells us. The other one, the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. What? Right? In our world, the first shall be first, and the last shall be last, right? But here, we're seeing Jesus teach something different. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. So we're going to look at today another kind of counterintuitive passage and something in one of Paul's letters that is counterintuitive. But before then, we're going to do a little bit of Mad Libs. Do you guys know Mad Libs?
Oh,
Yes.
I just played that with
Yeah.
Noah this morning.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
we
that's
literally
my
just
favorite.
put it like
Okay, love
five
my
minutes
So
ago.
I'm gonna show you guys the words, and then it's gonna be filled with blanks. So it's like sort of like Mad Libs, but a
Please.
little different.
I love that.
Okay, so during a severe trial brought about by affliction, their blank and their extreme poverty overflowed in blank.
And blank, blank.
On blank on their parts.
It would be more, yeah.
There's stupidity,
Their stupidity.
and then
Overflowing.
Extreme.
What would you think?
And their
What would
extreme
you
poverty
think?
overflowed.
What would you think would be said? So their severe trial brought about by affliction, their blank and their extreme poverty overflowed in. What would that overflow in, do you think? Would it overflow in dancing a jig?
yes.
Extreme.
That's my first thought, Courtney.
Yeah, I thought
Dancing
so.
a jig.
Dancing a jig, yeah, it's in the Bible a lot.
They're Irish.
What would you think that
Overflow
extreme
Irish jigs.
poverty and affliction would overflow into? Yeah,
And their extreme poverty overflowed in Irish jigs.
in Irish jigs. Okay, we're on the Irish jig thing now. That was at the St. Patrick's Day PM. That was when we did Irish jigs. So what would you guys think? Let's say you were in a severe trial. What's a severe trial? A severe trial. So it's not talking about like a courtroom trial. It's talking about something really, really hard. So a trial is like a really, really hard situation, painful, messy, difficult, all that. So severe trial and affliction. What's affliction? Yeah, it could be their own actions. Yeah. What else could afflictions mean? It basically means like, again, like bad circumstances, so something happening to them that's bad. So an affliction could be any kind of suffering or really hard, difficult circumstances coming upon them. So if you're in a severe trial and affliction and extreme poverty, how do you think that would naturally, what would you think? If you were in that situation, what would naturally come out as a response? Sad,
A lot of screaming.
pain.
Complaining.
Screaming in front of you.
I know this is a funny Mad Lib, sorry.
On your parents.
Oh my gosh, this is lame.
Okay. I shouldn't have called it Mad Libs. It's more fill in the blank. But serious libs. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so here's my thought with this. When I think about severe trial, affliction, poverty, my thought would be that would overflow in, if I was in that situation, right? That would overflow in sadness, anger, pain. Like if I'm in extreme poverty, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep all of my stuff for myself. And what we see in this passage is counterintuitive. It says, it's talking about one of the churches, the early churches. It says their brought about their abundant joy and their extreme poverty overflowed in a wealth of generosity. That's counterintuitive, right? That someone's extreme poverty would overflow into a wealth of generosity. So our question today is, what could cause this kind of counterintuitive response? Because that's counterintuitive, right? So what could cause this kind of counterintuitive response? Yeah.
Most of the time you understand what is truly happening right after you lose it. Like, want to have lost everything and come into extreme poverty, you realize that how much the little things they were.
Yeah. You just said that a lot of times we don't realize what we have until we've lost it, right? So we don't realize the value of a person, a thing, a situation until we no longer have it anymore. That's a good point. a good point. Any thoughts about what could cause this kind of counterintuitive response? So that's the question we're going to explore today. We're going to look into this verse. We're going to look at the verses around it and explore. And I want to challenge you guys. I think the easy answer, right, whenever we're at church is Jesus, right? What causes counterintuitive response? Jesus. And yes, it is Jesus, right? The answer is Jesus. I'll tell you that now. But I encourage you guys, as you guys are going through this, that we're going to avoid easy answers. So Jesus is the easy answer, right? And I'm going to encourage you guys to dig a little deeper and explore, okay, what about Jesus? Why? What about Jesus causes this radical change in behavior, right? So no easy answers. We're gonna think deeply. We're gonna challenge our ideas. So we're gonna do a manuscript study on 2 Corinthians 8:1-9. That was verse 2 that we just looked at. And before we hop into that, we're just gonna go over some background on 2 Corinthians. So does anyone know who wrote 2 Corinthians? Paul. Yes, good answer. What do we know about Paul? Do you remember stuff about Paul?
He wrote over half the New Testament.
Yes, he wrote over half the New Testament. What else do we know about Paul?
He used to be Saul.
He used to be Saul. And what happened?
Still is Saul.
He,
Oh, he was Paul Saul.
he is Paul Saul. Thank you.
Paul
That's just another
Saul.
name. It's like Greek or Roman alphabet.
Yes, we learned that a couple weeks ago, right? That we have this like myth that he changed from being Saul to Paul, but it's not true. He was always Saul Paul, but one was the Roman version and one was the Hebrew version of his name. Fun fact. What do you guys remember? What happened to him? It was like a big story when he decided to follow
A
Jesus.
lot of stuff.
Yes.
He was Christian, or like,
Mhm.
selling Christian, and then he became blind, and then he was on I think he was like traveling.
Yep.
God appeared to him, and then he said,
Yep. Yeah, exactly. That's good. Yeah, so Paul was persecuting Christians. He thought that Christians were heretics, that they were doing the absolute wrong thing, so he was bringing them up, killing them. He was there when Stephen, the first martyr, was martyred. He was there, like, watching this happen. So he was involved in this. He was riding along on his donkey. So, bright light came down. He fell off his horse, became blind. The boy said, Saul, why are you persecuting me? And it was Jesus. And he ended up going to this guy, Ananias, and Ananias gave him his sight back, baptized him, and he became the greatest evangelist ever. Someone who was persecuting and hating Christians became one of the greatest evangelists. It's counterintuitive. Am I right?
That
Yeah.
Ananias is different than the one that killed
Ananias and Sapphira? Yes, it is different Ananias. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Ananias and Sapphira, we read about in Acts, who they were struck down by God because they lied. It's another good story. You can read some time. Yep, they dropped dead. Good times. So what
Very
else
friendly.
in about so Paul? That was Paul. Do you guys know when it was written? 2 Corinthians?
670 AC.
That's close.
Oh, really?
Oh wait, no, 18.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're close by like 200 years. Yeah.
Well, then 878 AD.
That's close too. It was about 55 or 56
Okay, I was
AD.
like, I was gonna say 6.
AD, so after Jesus' death. Who was it written to? Yeah. The Corinthians. Yes. Who were the Corinthians?
People that live
People who lived in Corinth. Yes.
Oh,
The church in Corinth. So here's a handy dandy little map. Oh, I have a pointy thing. Ooh. Oh, does it let me see? Okay. But you guys see Corinth up there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up in Greece?
Yep.
So you see Corinth, you see Rome, right there on the Mediterranean Sea. Probably a nice little sea town with a good view of the ocean. So Paul also wrote another book to the Corinthians. What was that book?
First
Corinthians. Good job, friends. Yes. So he wrote this letter about a year after he wrote that letter. So he wrote 1 Corinthians. About a year later, he wrote this book, 2 Corinthians. And some scholars think it was actually a kind of a compilation of several different letters that he wrote to them as well. And then about a year later, he wrote a letter to the Roman church from Corinth. So about a year later, he was in Corinth and wrote a letter to the Roman church. Do you guys know what that book was called?
Romans.
Good job. Good job. See, the books are named pretty well. That helps us remember Good there, everybody too.
Yeah, thank you.